What's up, everybody?
Yo, yo,
Have you missed this?
boy.
Somebody like,
Like,
no, not really.
didn't even know you was gone. All right.
Oh, anyway, this said Will doing our perk talk for on the back hash. It's been a minute. I think those two championship weekends just wore us both out.
It's just that. Then you try to put life on top of everything, and
Yeah,
it's like, what is happening around
life do be life sometimes.
everything?
But no, we're good. We it was like we had talked about doing a recap a long time ago.
Yeah.
We just don't get around to it. So we're gonna get around to it. But we do got some stuff coming, some other stuff coming too. So be ready for that. We're gonna try to do some things, and we got some React videos, and hopefully we can get some design teams on to talk about their shows as well from this past season. So, but we're not gonna tarry too long because we don't want this to be a 17-hour episode of Perk Talk. I do have to go to work in the morning.
Oh.
So that's the thing. But we're going to just do kind of I'll say a quick recap of World Championships. We're going to do finals for world-class groups. We might get into detail more. To be honest, we'll probably get into more detail about particular groups or particular situations than we do others. It's just due to, one, us being away from it for about 3 weeks, and two, we don't have time to talk about everybody. Mm-hmm. There's 30 groups that you got to go through, and that's a lot to sit through. I will say, before we kind of dig in, the time flew by. Both weekends, watching 30 guards and 30 drum lines. Normally I'm just like, which one are we on now? Oh, we got 14 more to go. But no, it was
pretty much engagement on everybody.
Yeah,
that's tough to do, and it's not really common a lot. It's like you don't hate groups, or you don't think nobody's trying or doing their best and all that kind of stuff. But you know how it is. We all gravitate to something, and it's very rare where you get majority to say, do almost everybody. Yeah. It's like kept the time was ticking. Next thing you blinked and last two groups going. I was like, what happened?
Yeah. So between the two of us, some of us we may remember one show a little bit better than others, and that's just how art is. Art strikes people differently, and so you're like, man, you only talk about this group for like 10 seconds, but you talk about this one for 2 minutes.
Yeah,
I just remember 2 minutes, or So, but like I said, with that being said, I really did. There was something about everybody's show that I can enjoy. There was nobody's show that I just looked at and was like, how'd this make finals?
Right.
So, very, very, very good year for WGI. So, we're going to start with Scholastic World. And let's kind of go from the bottom to the top. And as we kind of feel like we need to say anything, we can say stuff. So 15th place was Walled Lake Consolidated Schools with their show Pearl. I really did. I thought visually, they did a really good job with bringing to life the Pearl aspect of it. Some very smart, clever ideas. I know for me, from a GE standpoint, like if I can see and kind of hear what you're trying to do with it, it makes it work for me. So when I was like, oh, okay, I get it. And all of the different, circle did what they did with the circles on the floor, emulating the Pearl, and how they emulated that with not only the drill, but just lots of other elements. So I remember more about that show visually than I do anything else, but it was still cool to watch. It's a great way to start finals.
Mm-hmm. So, agreed.
14th place, Brownsburg, with their show Encore, was 14th. I remember watching the show early season.
Same.
I was like, this is going to be a fan favorite.
See, and I was like, this is going to be close to it, because I was like, this show is fun. With the little screen and stuff.
It's hard sometimes for a world-class group to pull off a show that has a lot of popular music. and things of that nature. They played some Beatles, they played some Queen, um, they did some Radiohead, so lots of different pop stuff with dealing with the theme encore. Had the stage on with the lightings, and the lighting was really, really well done.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it enhanced the program a whole lot. So that's one of those. Yeah, it was 14th, but like I remember that show specifically, like and the changes they made from early season to late season, and just cleaning up the drumming. I thought it was really, really well done.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos, Brown Bird. 13th place was Dorman, doing their show All Things In. Um, they play with some ideas from the finite nature of life and fire. So I don't remember this one a whole lot. I'm not gonna be lying.
I just remember the prop.
Yeah.
The little, I don't know what you would call it, rectangle pop, whatever. I think
Yes.
they had people in them.
That okay? It's coming
Shadow
back to
or
me
something.
Now.
Yeah.
Yes, it can. It's okay. Yeah.
Pretty cool idea.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's coming back to me now because they lit up at different times and they did a bunch of different. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do remember that show and I do like it. I did like it. Look at that. I don't know nobody didn't like it. Boswell in 12th place with their show called Welcome to the Real World. I remember that color concept was kind of dope for what they were trying to do and their thought process. You know, it made me think of when you guys with Russellville did the Office show a little bit. But maybe a little bit more mature.
I could see that. I could see that.
Not to saying you weren't mature, but you know what I mean.
No, it's one of those things, man. Hey, look, at the time, you sometimes an idea can come at the right time,
mm-hmm.
but you not be theoretically financially right
mm-hmm.
at that time. Like you may not be able to financially, visually create that idea the way it should, but the idea is good for that time period.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, and also we have to think about the classification too. When you guys did that show, you were an A-class group.
True.
This is a world-class group. So you kind of, you'll see, I think a lot of times when you see A-class groups try to do something a world-class group does, they try to do it exactly how a world-class does it. Whereas no, you don't have to do that. You're A-class. You can you can simplify. I don't want to use the word dumb down, but you can simplify that concept to make it work for an A-class group. And I think sometimes designers get caught up in that, trying to make it. I think they won with it. We should do it. That's not always how that works.
I think a lot of times, and you'll probably hear this a lot, even if we do interviews and stuff with other folks, but it's like instructors sometimes get I really don't know the actual word to say towards it. They get a little jumbled with the idea of if you're A, be A. But everybody wants and has the idea that they want to be in a higher class.
Yeah.
So you keep trying to do stuff like what you said. You're trying to design world, but you're A class. Yeah. Be A. But then your brain is telling you, well, I'm trying to get to this. And then you haven't figured that balance out. Because the groups that are in A that are getting bumped to open so they can go to world eventually are doing the A things correctly to a...
Yeah, I was just about to agree with you. Yeah, they're doing their things and they're doing them well. Yeah. Like you can't put notes on the page and then not play it well and expect to get. Yeah. I mean, they will bump you if you do that, but you're gonna just get hammered
because it's not clean. Ain't straight.
Yeah,
it ain't straight for the next class. I mean, you see it time and time again, and the correct way of it is the year they were bumping everybody, and everybody who got bumped were making finals. It's like, how are you in this class and now you're in finals in the next? It's like you knew you should have been in this class. So that they were playing that show at a level that could still compete within the next class and not just be, oh, well, you're showing these capabilities and then you just halfway doing whatever.
All right, moving on. Broken Arrow was 11th with their show Cardinals Appear When Angels Are Near. I thought this show visually was very stunning. They did a really good job um, bringing that kind of to life, and just they highlighted, they had red accents all over the floor, whether it was on their instrument, on their uniform at times, or sometimes they took it off.
So heart prop things or whatever they were.
Yes, so
I was like, that's they always are the group that is like, I'm rooting for because it's always something you probably wouldn't expect, and it's like, okay, Broken, I see y'all because here's what I always say. Sometimes it's like it's hard because sometimes we get to classifying schools with certain seasons and stuff. So Broken Arrow to me is a BOA band. And to see somebody that does so good in BOA to get like this in indoor, to me, I think like that's cool to me because you don't see, because when you try to flip flop it, there's not a lot of top groups in indoor who are dominating in BOA.
Yeah,
think about it.
Yeah.
So
there are, there's exceptions to the rule, obviously.
Yeah.
But you just bring these kids can play, and then you'll see the marching band, and they don't get the same amount of love in that venue than they do in the indoor world for whatever reason. It's kind of interesting just to kind of see that, because like you said, you see the name like, oh yeah, they should be good. But if you think about a BOA, there's groups that have great percussion, but they don't do everything that they can do. They do whatever they need to do.
True, that's true.
For the
because indoor, it's you. It's you. They ain't looking at Susie on the flute.
Yeah. So it's really interesting to see those groups. Moving into the top 10, you had Center Grove as 10th with their show Faded Heroes. Really, really cool.
I like it.
Really, really cool show. Superhero show. Different story. Different kind of story. Kind of a zero to hero type of story, but it was really cool. It was really cool. I want to see another fight, though. I'm not gonna lie that. Ninth place, breaking into the 90s club with Dartmouth. That might be a little bit of a shock to some folks.
Yeah, I could say, me personally, this one of my favorite show I've ever seen Dartmouth ever do, and it was like, man, Dartmouth, I don't know this year, but what I do like, I was pretty. I don't want to say impressed because they always impress me visually, but I really liked how they did their props. How you can see them go through the prop, and it looks like they're in the diner and stuff. I was like, okay, Dartmouth, that's what I expect from y'all. I was like, y'all don't ever skip the beat on the visual part, so I was with them with that part.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was shocking. It was like, I don't know, Dartmouth. it's a tough year though.
That part. That's what I was just about to say. I was like, it was a really, really good year. Just a lot of groups step their game up, and that's what happens when you have groups like a Chino Hills and a Dartmouth and a Yala and an Avon who are consistently up there. It makes everybody else like, man, if I want to get there, I'm gonna have to be better. I'm gonna have to drum better. I'm gonna have to play, be a more musical mallet player. I'm gonna have to be a better dancer or move.
All that.
It makes, in the design team, it makes everybody on that staff and that school make them have to step up. And I think we saw that this year, and which is why we see Dartmouth in a ninth place. Lots of really cool elements, like we said. They are kings and queens of storytelling,
yes,
for sure. And putting you in an environment and making you forget that you're in an arena for 8 minutes. Yeah. Brass band was awesome. Yeah. Those kids, those horn players can play. So it was a really good show. It was just a buzzsaw of a year this year. So I'm sure they'll bounce back. Be just fine. Tom Moxley ain't letting them mess around with. Eighth place, Clearbrook, with their show Worlds Apart. Really, really great set piece.
This was visually pleasing. It just laid on the eyes, and I was like, yes. And they beefed the book. I was noticing more notes, and I was like, I like it a lot.
So they are steady climbing the no electronic issues this year either at finals. But nah, those cats can drum. Like, there's lots of really good things happening. Really good total package, from visual to music, all the way across the board. So I was super impressed with it. This kids drum, and they drummed really well. Mm-hmm. So good for them. Seventh place, Sawfair High School, during their show called A Worthwhile Thing to Do. Very, very, very cool message. Mm-hmm. I love a show with a good message. Shows that make you think.
Controlled playing.
Texas was out for vengeance.
Texas is mad at everybody.
Let me tell you.
Understand. Like, all around. Even we ain't got the independent world yet, and they mad there too.
Yeah. So they's like, in California, it's time to move aside and share some of this. But no, I was very, very, very impressed with that show. So shout out to Sawfair. Sixth place, Arcadia, with their show A Rare Bird Upon the Earth. So, really cool props. You had to kind of like, it wasn't pipe, but it looked like pipe. Like angular type of props.
Yeah, metal things or whatever.
Yeah. Frames, I should call them.
Frame.
Yeah. At that, awesome violin player. I'm waiting for that breakthrough show.
I've been saying it for I don't know how long too. One show that's just gonna be like, yo.
Yeah, like, oh, they here.
Yeah.
Welcome. And it's gonna pop off, and it's coming. It's coming. So shout out to Arcadia with that. Fifth place, Burleson Centennial High School, with their show. With their show, They Can't Hear You. They have the sound towers.
Where do you even get that? They look so good, and they played well, and that's the whole niche to all is from ninth up. When we talk about Dartmouth up, like, these groups are stepping their playing game up, and this was just a cool idea.
Yeah. They move the speakers around, the speaker towers around throughout the show. Just do lots of manipulation and portraying of just like hearing things and not being able to hear things and putting people in different positions. It was really cool. It was a really, really cool show. It made you think as well. So I'm always impressed with that. Fourth place, Avon High School with their show Float.
Listen, Avon. Look, I get it. Y'all in metal or whatever. That ain't what we talking about. What is happening in Indiana, bro?
Listen, man.
This is one of those shows where probably everybody else would be like, man, this would be so cool to do. Like, float a drum across the floor, bro. And ain't nobody finna do it, because who gonna figure it out?
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to figure out which daddy, because it wasn't nobody on the staff. It couldn't have been. Whose daddy found these scaffolding and somebody was like, hey, I got an idea, y'all.
like you want to float snare drums? We got you.
They brought out a whole rack. And I'm like, hey, this is insane. Insanity. Like, okay. You want to talk about taking a an idea and then what is the word
Bringing it to fruition.
or no, when it doesn't feel real.
Oh, surreal.
Well, improbable, is that what I'm thinking?
Improbable is a good word for it, too.
Yeah, like you take that kind of an idea and actually do it.
Inconceivable.
Yeah. It's like let's make a show where the whole show is in the clouds.
Yeah.
And didn't have people floating and you can't even see the floor. They be the group to figure that out.
Listen, I keep saying if Machi ever come back,
Oh God,
I don't know what they coming up with, because they 10 years ahead of technology than we are here.
Yeah.
So they probably got a whole floor that's going to be flexible that you can fold up. That's actually electronic, and the floor will change scenes as the show goes
Literally.
on. It's coming. Somebody gonna figure it out.
It's like, y'all got a whole hologram in the. Are we at the Stark Tower? This is not the Avengers. What is happening?
So, but it was a cool show too. The like I said, how they got the snares, how they figured out how to make the snares float. The use of the big gray balls and throwing them and giving the illusion of float, using the stands to push around the drums, shot back out to Amachi. Like I said, Amachi was 15 years ahead of their time, but just the way they thought about ways to give the illusion of float. And I'm sure they had more ideas that they wanted to do with it. They just, like you said, it was just physically it's not possible.
You know what I'm saying?
But I think they did. I think they did what they could with it. It took a little bit for the show to clean up from a musical standpoint,
because that's what worried me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what worried me the most. I was like, I know y'all can play, but I think because of this concept and visual aspect is so high that the playing was suffering because of it. But it cleaned itself enough to keep them top 5 and stay in the rankings and all that. But I was just like, this might be one, if not the toughest show in a whole to try to pull off.
I feel like they're going to continue to try to push the gimmick. Like, what can we do? And I think if you remember the triangle show they did, like with the guy, he had the ball and he was bouncing around the triangle and making music with it, which was based off of that. An old skit did that. Old musician did that. Percussionist, I think. But they've done things in that nature, like what can we do to push the envelope and not just play music. So I remember that show, of course, the show with where they box and they did that,
with the stairs and
so they continue to try to find ways to entertain the audience, and I think they're doing a fantastic job with it.
Yes.
Third place, Chino Hills with a 98.58.
95.
Yeah, that's what I said, 95.8.
Thought you said 98.5.
I was almost going to say 98.5. I flipped it real quick. In their show, Painted Black, I was a little concerned when I first heard the title, not going to lie, at the beginning of the season, because I was just like, it's the song Painted Black. Everybody and their mama has done that song the past 3 years.
It's been ran down.
But they did it how Chino would do it, and they kept it fresh throughout it, all of it, and it was really, really enjoyable to watch. It's probably one of my more favorite Chino Hill shows over the past few years.
Yeah, that definitely, because I was still saying, I was in the same boat. I was like, all right, Chino. I was like, we've all heard this, and you can't really name it that and then not have the song in it. So I was like, how you gonna spin it? So, but I wound up watching it. The first time I watched it was, I think, a regional on the West Side, and I was like, okay. I was like, I actually like it. I was like, I'm not even mad at this.
Yeah.
But I was just like, Chino, but I don't know, man. I was like, I don't know. It's something. I can't put my finger on it yet because it was so early back then. But I was like, man, they held their own because they gonna always Chino.
Yeah.
They gonna be the Chino of the hills, and they gonna play. And we all already know that 100%. They gonna play. So I wasn't worried about that. But I just like you. I just knew. I was like, man, I heard that concept. I was like, well, let's see what they do with it. And again, like I said, I liked it.
Yeah. I think they maxed it out. The perks that they decided to do with it really, really worked. Like I said, it's just been a year. There are some groups like the next one we're about to mention that just came out and just like, no, it's time. It's time for us to break into the realms here. So, but no, for me, one of my top probably 3 Chino Hill shows that I've watched in my 10 years of doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Silver medal, Bridgeland High School. Like I said, Texas was on a mission this year.
Not
I
playing.
don't know if they had a meeting before the season started and was like, hey, let's get this together. But they came with the thunder. They did their show Catalyst. Man, golly, they played drumline spot on. The front ensemble, probably one of my favorites of the night. I love
cool.
it.
They had like the mask.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is
just the visual for me, and it's weird to say because I'm blind, but like the visual aesthetic of the floor, the sharp colors against each other, and then you have the mirrors on top of that, and like you said, the mask. Everything just works really, really together. But like I said, this the pure drumline sound that they produced, matched with the front ensemble. But I was just like, this is it. This is awesome. Any other year, this probably would have won.
probably like scared a whole lot of folks, and it would have. I think it would have niched itself on top, and it came out on top. Because this was actually insane. Because if you think about it, they 2-pointed Chino.
Think about that. You 2-point Chino and still finish second.
It's like, what are we talking about? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting like, I was like, y'all, this year, well, I don't know, man. I think a lot of me blames Boston Crusaders because everybody has bumped their playing game up. Like people, you got to in all classes, everywhere. Everyone is bumping the playing game up, and I'm like,
and that's the thing. Like people would make fun of me all the time. It's like, why you keep entering in A class? I'm like, because the line is moving, like, and I don't know where we are on that line. So like,
that's why I keep telling folks, you got too many groups out here who still like, well, we need to wait till we're this level and that. You ain't gonna never be at the level. You need to come. You need to start and just see where you fit, and then grow from there.
The judges
you get embarrassed. You get embarrassed. I'm sorry, but if you think you just gonna come out, you better be that group.
Yeah.
If you think you're going to just come out and dominate, you better be that capital THAT group. Because if you're not, you're going to get hammered.
And that's the beautiful thing about WGI is they will tell you, hey,
they will.
You're not where you need to be.
Get involved. That's it. Just do it and see where you lay.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
So, but yeah, shout out to Bridgeland. Fantastic season. Wonderful season. And like I said, whew, really, really, really good. And then I'm just gonna break a record.
Okay, I'll say, yeah, that was cute.
Yeah, right, boy, that boy. With a 99.5, the winners are Ayala, with their show Beholder of the Eye. And there's a lot.
They have to be. I'm just going to be one topic specific. They have to be my number one most favorite visually moving group in the scholastic sense.
Well, when you score 19.95,
that's insanity. They move
visual.
So well for children. They are
and
children.
a perfect score in visual effect.
They are children. They probably still eating boogers.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about it is because I talk to my kids about that all the time. I say, and we're going to talk about the show. I will promise. But like, it's just like you watch them and they're like, these are kids, by the way. Like,
yes.
These are the same age as you guys are. And I was like, they're probably, yeah, they're probably at practice and they're doing everything they need to do and all that stuff and take care of business. But when they get home, they're on TikTok and they're watching.
They playing video
Fortnite,
games.
And they're doing the same stupid stuff.
Same stupid stuff, dog. Each one of them, they skateboarding, they doing all that. Yeah.
It's just a matter of.
I mean, they got different people in front of them, whatever, or whoever's teaching them. You can put some credit to all that and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, they had the mindset to be great, to be at this level, to want to do this because they see that this is achievable, even at this stage.
Yeah.
It's just because, man, that whole opening set is brilliant.
Yeah.
And you got to understand, the front ensemble is out there. So all you front ensemble people who think you don't get to, because I tell my front ensemble people, I was like, don't think you're just going to be standing there. We are not the type of front ensemble who just stands. And I love stuff like that because you're more involved. But that's the front out there in that whole opening lick with the visual ensemble doing all that body stuff while the battery plays to the left. I'm like,
just
incredible.
Just oh my gosh, just how they draw your eye around everything. And I do say the word eye because there's so many times when they're making you look at them in the eyes, or they're using their eyes to look at you or to draw focus to something else. It's just a masterclass in show design.
Yeah.
Musically and visually. Just we're gonna have to watch it at some point and just really just sit down and be like, okay.
Yeah.
Because that's flubbering over it. It's not gonna give it any justice. You need to watch it, and then at some point we're gonna watch it and do a study. So if somebody from y'all just happens to watch this episode,
hit us up.
And you want to talk about it, we love to have
Let's do it.
So, but yeah, shout out Scholastic World, fantastic season. Just shows, like I said, man, I was just really impressed with the playing.
Mm-hmm. That's been the biggest one.
The set design has been there for several groups. But now they're throwing the playing on top of it, and it's not just battery. Front ensembles will get notes too. So, all right, ready to talk about independent?
Just as nasty.
Just as nasty. And to let you know how nasty it is, 15th place was
Texas.
An 87. No, it wasn't Texas.
Oh wait, sorry, I went too quick. That's my fault. That's still the West Coast. It's still the West Coast. My bad, man. And almost said it wrong. I'm out.
Meraki. I had to learn how to say it. And I'm glad I did. Because they were 15th with 87. You come out the gate and be like, hey, what's up? We here. Boom. Like, okay.
Dude, when we did the video on them, I had been pulling for them since. Because I was like, this is nice. They did so many changes, add-ons, and I was like, this is nice. I was like,
very beautiful.
I want them in finals so bad. They played it so well. I was like, this sounds like finals.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they definitely earned it, and they definitely belonged. I was really impressed with them at finals night. I mean, when I saw them earlier too, but this is a very cool show. The show is called Flicker, or Flickers. Tells the story of a life through the story of a flame. But you don't see oranges and reds. They did it with greens and blues and a different texture. So but man, it was just really, really thoughtful, really, really well done. And like you said, they did world class things right.
Yeah.
They just did. They did. They didn't because they just got off winning open, and they didn't try to come in and just a guns a blazing. Nope. They bumped up the difficulty just enough. They bumped up the visual design just enough, and they made themselves look like a world class group without trying to be a world class group.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the thing that I was most impressed with them about.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to Meraki because man, that was beautiful show. Beautiful show. Great way to start out finals night. Super impressed. 14th place, Monarch, with their show Multitudes of Me. I really like this show.
It was pretty cool because I could be wrong, but I think I've seen somebody with a similar idea with those props. Because you had one side with the mirror, then the sheer that
the opaqueness changed when you touch it.
The change, So, but I liked how they did it. So I wasn't mad at them because even though it reminded me of somebody else has probably done it, maybe who did it only had the pigment part. They didn't. I
remember the show.
You know who I'm talking about.
Not remember who did it
exactly, and that's how I am right now because I know it's happened, but I think they did something different with it, but I like how they did it. I like how Monarch did it,
and their group starting to become more consistent and slowly climbing the ranks. I mean, we're starting to see some familiar faces not in the top 15 anymore. With some new faces. I mean, they knocked somebody out. Meraki knocked somebody out, and then this next group out of Texas. Yeah. Rhythmic Force finished 13th with their show What Goes Around. Man, very colorful show, both musically and visually. Very chill show. A lot of these chill shows, sometimes they can get boring for some folks. But when you use dynamics and when you use expression and when you don't do it the same way and shift harmonics and don't just, you can make shows like that work very interesting. And I really like it. It just makes you want to watch it. Just the way everything is set up. Very, very, very cool. So that was them in 13. 12, Atlanta Quest with their show Eden. Kind of a stark difference from last year's show, but look, it looked good on them.
I like them. I was trying to think about last year. I don't think last year was too much of a story tale. You say wasn't it like the racing?
It was the car.
I don't think you can really classify it as storytelling ish, but they still have concepts that portray or give off the idea like you're trying to tell some kind of a story, maybe. And I like Atlantic Quest doing concepts like these, and like especially at the end, I think dude gets left behind or the door shuts on the last person, and I'm like, okay, Atlantic Quest. I was like, I'm okay with y'all being in this area.
A very good combination of their energetic style that they are known for, but applying some touch to the show as well. So it worked out really, really, really well. So shout out to them. All right, 11th place, Pow Percussion with their show Letters to My Younger Self.
I think I said, yeah, we did because I think we talked about it, and I said something about it with the voice. I just wish they had used an old man's voice instead of a younger guy's voice talking about a younger self, or maybe he was talking about himself in the present or something weird, or I don't know how. It felt like if they had done like an old man's voice, one of them old guys that sitting on the front porch in a rocking chair or something, just telling a story to his grandkids.
But I think they didn't go that route because a lot of other people, when they do shows similar to this, that's what they do. I think So I think for me, my interpretation of it was them as the performer talking to them younger self
Mm.
before they get to this point.
And that's what I thought. It was. It just. I think mainly. I think. I guess I just wanted a bigger gap, maybe in
Mhm.
age.
I
I
get
guess
it.
that's what it really was.
I get it. So, but Powell does what Powell does well, which
I was about to
is
say
kind
nonetheless,
of
they played the ball.
yeah, kind of like I talked about with Meraki is they do world class things
Yeah,
well.
they played.
They don't go too far outside what they can capable of. And what you get is a very polished product that's very easy to listen to and very easy to watch. So I'm always I just wait for the day the Powell beats Pulse. It's never gonna happen, but I
I
just want to see.
needed to
I want them to trick
because that
everybody.
would be hilarious
I just want them to change the rosters. Like somebody mix up the sheets or something
by accident and just
by
boom.
accident, and we're like, where did Powell? What? Who did something? So, and then after they season, they're like, oh, the sheets were
I got
backwards.
you.
The sheets were backwards. We didn't know.
April Fool.
Yeah.
Y'all are late.
Yeah. I mean, it is April, but Mr. Backup please. Top 10, Cap City. Cap City. I really like the show.
This was a good one for them.
I really, really like this show.
Good concept, Cap.
Show was called Listen. Just about listening and sounds and things of that nature. But lots of Easter eggs. I don't want to call them Easter eggs, but just subtle things that they do throughout the show. They play in difficult listening environments. I think they start the show in four corners.
In all four corners. It's like, oh yeah, we ain't doing that.
Yeah.
You know how hard that is?
Yeah, you got to really listen. In order for
Took
it to
it literally.
Work. Yes, they did. And then they, spelling out listen with the boards in the front, doing the Morse code spelling listen. That was brilliant and had a whole movement with that. And I was just like, see, this is the type of nerdy crap that I like. Like, make me think, because when they did that, I was like, what else are they going to do now? Like, how else they're going to incorporate listen? And then using, playing Sound of Silence and using the word silent, because that's the old adage, listen and silent are used to spell the same word. I mean, the letter are used to spell both words. And then ending with, overwhelming sound and, it was just a fantastic show.
It was.
I really, really liked it. Played well. They did the things that they needed to do, but that concept really drove home to me. Like, if I was in effect, I'm like, yeah, you guys, thank you for making me think.
Exactly. Exactly.
So very good for that. And then Matrix, 9th. We talked about folks stepping up and moving people around, and it's happening in both classes, both world classes. So Matrix didn't have a bad show this year. Their show, In the Wake of Creation, used sand or something sand-like.
I still am curious how that felt or what substance it really was, because my first initial thought is like, man, we not pouring sand on the floor. Every kid I got finna fall down. Even the front ensemble, they ain't even move. I mean, theirs do, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, Matrix. They go when the battery gets a drill book, so does him.
Yeah, like how did electronics fall and they don't even move? What? But the only thing with Matrix for me is like the end was like, okay, Matrix, what are we doing at the end?
Very, very, very beautiful show, for sure. Like I said, with the sand, I like the color palette from it. They do. They have the blues, and then of course you got the color, the tan that goes on the floor, and then like the different blues or sea green, sea colors basically that they use all over the floor to just give that illusion and how they do it. And then they end the show with the silks and they have blowers down there and the sips, and so it's just a really cool moment for them with the colors and the music and things of that nature. So, um, one of those Matrix shows that I really, really enjoyed because, and they are always trying to be innovative as well. They're going to figure out ways to either use technology in a way to enhance their shows or interesting use of props. I mean, they've done paint before. I think they got banned, but they did do paint one year, and it was an awesome show. Very energetic, and then this year with the sand. So, very impressed with Matrix. I thought it went well. So, we're going to keep rolling. I know we lost Will for a second, but we're going to keep on rolling here. With eighth place, United Percussion, during their show All of Us, they had a really, really cool moment that I remember distinctly, where everybody ended up in the middle of this prop. So these props made a circle, and then they closed the battery. And probably one of my favorite drum moments from them happened while they were in that prop. So very, very, very cool. One of the lines that I remember distinctly drumming really, really well, having some really, really cool battery beats that I really like. And for me to notice the drum book, because I'm a front ensemble person, you must be doing something right for sure. But concept was done really, really well. I love the color palette of this show, the props, the way they're using them and manipulating them, framing the floor in a lot of different ways. Just really, really, really well done. I was really impressed with that show. So grateful for that one. Moving on. Seventh place was Music City Mystique with their show called Parasite. Probably one of the best batteries that I've seen come from Mystique in a while. They had hands all across the board, and they do a really, really good job of making you see and hear the concept through musical design and visual design. Lots of, when you looked at the music, or when you listen to the music for them, it was kind of sketchy, kind of itchy, kind of glitchy throughout. Lots of burst things that happened in both the front ensemble and in the battery. So because of that, it kind of gave that illusion of, just like maybe like an insect or a parasite, entering the body and kind of slowly manipulating the brain. So thought they did a really, really, really good job kind of getting that concept out there. And they showcased their battery a little bit more than they typically do. Because it was trouble. Stairline was smoking. They had some things where they were in 3 different pods and had a lick, and that kind of echoed each other a little bit, kind of showing like how you can replicate and how parasites replicate and move on from one thing to another. But really cool stuff with that. The tenor solo was fire. Bass line from Mystique is always great. Lots of really, really good stuff. I know personally one of those things I'm wondering if they were trying to leave room for the battery to make sure they shine, that they kind of backed off the front ensemble a little bit. The front ensemble had notes. They played, plenty, but some of the signature stuff that we typically see and hear from their front ensemble, I'm not completely sure that we got everything that we wanted out of them. So, that'd be interesting to see or hear from the designers, to see how they had to play out, because there's only so much room. You can't have everybody playing all the time, and it is a percussion championship, so you want your front ensemble to help lead to greatness just as much as you do the battery. And so I think the groups that find success a lot of the times find it in situations where both are being done well, and both groups tend to shine when they get a chance to. So it was a really cool show for Mystique. I'm always interested to see what they come up with next because they always kind of think outside the box when it comes to stuff. So, yeah, really, really looking forward to kind of see what's going to happen with them in the future. We get into the top 6. In 6th place was George Mason University with their show entitled The George Mason Show. My absolute fan favorite, for sure. When I first saw it, and we did a react to it early season, but when I first saw it the first time, I was literally laughed and or smiled the entire show, like the entire show. I love tongue in cheek. I love humor in shows, and in an idiom, in a venue where it seems like the illusion is you have to be serious to win, or to do well. A show like that is, we always refer to it as the breath of fresh air show. Like, what show is going to allow me to relax a little bit, breathe, maybe even laugh? And this show was definitely it. This show was definitely it. I was super impressed with it. Much kind of like another group that we talked about earlier. I was kind of worried about the playing early on in the season. But it definitely cleaned up the way they needed to. They changed a few things in the book to allow them to, I think, get clean. But they really did a really good job of pacing out the comedy throughout the show. Will, can you guess who I'm talking about?
I didn't even hear where you got to because I'm so pissed.
Well, I said comedy.
So, sticking my computer right now. It's not even funny.
I said comedy.
I guess it wouldn't be a podcast if my computer didn't shut down. Yay. It just makes me so mad, though.
Technology, it happens. Technology problems.
Clearly.
I was talking about George Mason.
Oh.
Yeah.
I done missed.
We can go back and talk about some of the groups.
Well, okay.
But we'll first talk about George Mason, and we can double back and hit some of the groups that you missed. But no, George Mason was what it needed to be for everybody involved. They made fun of the activity that they are in. Had jokes for folks that knew about the activity, but there was still enough funny stuff in there for folks that maybe weren't as familiar with the activity. But no, it was just really, really well done. I love the literalness of the show.
Yeah.
The
fan favorite hands down.
Yes, the way the bass line played everything that he was saying, super cool. The how he loves technology, because that is a thing that everybody does, all the way up until throwing babies on the floor, right? Because that's what we always say: make them throw babies.
Yeah,
that is a thing that we say all the time.
This is another one that's literally borderline genius.
Mm-hmm.
It was geniusly designed and just written in general musically too. I mean, it's like, are you kidding? Let alone little of like movies that keep you captivated. Like, you're talking about every moment, every moment of the show. So, like you said, man, they had so many small individual things in there. Just like, come on now, Titanic, what are y'all doing?
Yeah. So it was my fan favorite for sure. It was just a show that when I want to get kids interested in the activity, that's going on the list of shows that I will show my kids for sure. So we'll go back a little bit because you heard one. I was talking about Matrix when you kind of went through. Is there anything you want to add to Matrix?
Yeah. The only thing I was just saying with Matrix, the ending kind of got a little like, okay, Matrix, y'all doing a little too much right now.
Mm-hmm.
for me. But
A little heavy for
I've
what?
always been a I've always liked how Matrix write.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is one of their better playing years for the group in general. But I think if anything, the playing is one of the things that maybe gets hindered some because they put so much into the show. They're like what we were talking about with Avon. So much going on, man. It gets something's got to get sacrificed if you're gonna put all that in there.
Yeah.
And that's where you got to try to find that balance.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hmm.
overall at the end of the day, I liked it.
Yeah. And then United Percussion in eighth. You got anything to add to them?
United.
I already told them about my favorite part.
I think with them basically, if anything, I was happy because it's just the theme this year.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's playing, and that's one thing that I mean. You just got to do it. You got to play, and if you do it well, it's going to stick out.
Yeah,
and that's something that I was very impressed with them in doing. And they're one of them groups too. If they can catch something correct the right year, some mofo's gonna get mad.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And then Mystique in seventh.
Whew. I'm wondering if anybody or how shocked anybody was. And I'm wondering if anybody was shocked because it's Mystique, or are they shocked because they don't think the show overall was it this year? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they played. It's probably one of the strongest batteries I've seen them have in a long time. Mm-hmm. And I tell people all the time, I was like, look, I'm an alumni. So I'm going to always want Mystique to win. I'm going to always want Mystique to do great. But it's one of them things is you're watching it and you're looking at it, it's like, man, it's something hidden. Something wasn't right. Something was missing. What was it? What could you have done? It's like maybe the floor, the concept, how you approached it, something just didn't click right, maybe. Because I'm truly more interested in seeing and hearing, like, what did some of the judges say?
Yeah.
You know, because you're like, well, goddamn, they playing. That you can't deny.
Yeah. There was a big gap in visual effect. George Mason kind of tapped him pretty heavy in visual effect.
That makes
sense.
But
you would think that Mystique would have made that up in music, but George Mason beat him in music.
And and that's what's the crazy thing too. It's like,
and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think that was gonna happen.
I didn't either. I figured if anything, Mystique would have still gotten. If I would have said this, the music for Mystique would have kept him in the rankings. I would say if there was anything, the music would have been the last hope. And even though they got beat by George and Infinity, I would have still said Mystique's music would have got over at least George.
Yeah.
And when I seen it, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. They even got him in music. So, because we did another group, we did an early video of them, and we said saying it's like the plan just wasn't as tight. I think the playing was very well written, and they were achieving it to the point to where you completely understood everything. You knew what it was supposed to be. You know what's going here and how it should sound. Mm-hmm. But it just got to tighten them screws up, and they use a whole crescent wrench or something. I don't know, power drill to tighten them joints up because they tightened it all right, and they left every bit of it literally on the floor. And but yeah, that's how I was with Mystique. I was like, if anything, I was like, okay, we know Mystique plays. That's one thing they're gonna take the pride in. They're gonna play. So surely they didn't. Nope, they got him. I was like, whew. That's tough.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was so. All right, and we did talk about George Mason. So 5th place, Infinity, with their show Deja Vu. I think we want to say the same thing.
I'm gonna let you go first this time.
Oh, good. I'd had to go first to pass forward.
Hey, that wasn't my fault. I'm in the whole place just cussing everything out. I cussed the blanket out, this ball, kick the ball across the
room. They play well. Shows are designed well. They don't do anything for me.
That's tough to say.
I don't.
And here's the thing: I
watched the show. I don't remember it.
No, you don't. And here's what a lot of people don't want to hear. They want to.
Oh, I do remember some of it now. Okay, the props. Maybe they weren't colored or painted by design, but like I was just like I don't know.
Here's a lot of people get so scared to negatively talk about certain groups because we want to give everybody praise. Everybody's trying their hardest, blah blah, all that.
For me, it's not that.
We get all that.
I will say,
and it ain't never that.
I will say negative about a group. The problem is people will take that as like, well, they hating on Infinity. No, ain't nobody hating on Infinity.
It ain't got nothing to do with that.
They did what they did. I just the show, and I think it's because it's. And I talked about it, and it's not a slight, but it's just kind of where we are. It's Broken City Light. It is.
It's too Broken City Light, so, and you can't be afraid to recognize that or say it. And here's the thing, the staff is a high possibility. The staff probably just didn't do that on purpose. It wasn't intentional, none of that. And okay, we're not debating that. But at the end of the day, put the shows side by side. You're going to have a tough time trying to say that it's not similar. And when you have groups that are like that have too much similarities in their style and how they play and how they sound, it becomes a problem. Because the first one you hear do it gets all the credit for it, which is why we're saying you sound like Broken City. Because here's my thing. What happened to The Greatest Showman? That was one of my favorite shows Infinity did. Where's that Infinity? Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, we found the niche. This got us here. So we're developing it, but it's getting to the point where it's like, bro, y'all Broken City too. If they had a feeder group, it's y'all baby broken. And it's like a shot, but then it's not a shot. It's almost like a compliment, but it's not a compliment. But at the end of the day, they play. Yeah. I'm not going to deteriorate none of that from them.
You don't finish 5th and 6th, or you don't finish 5th without playing.
Without doing the work.
And
they did the work. And
but for me, it's just
I didn't really get the concept.
The last Infinity, I didn't get Deja Vu out of that at all. Like when I read the title, I was just like, oh, I didn't really. Okay.
Because what does the book mean? What does the light mean? So they got a little light in this book.
And I feel like I'm pretty good at catching musical nuance. So like for me, Deja Vu means like I've heard this before somewhere.
Before, exactly. I've seen this before. Where did this come from before?
So I don't. So on the first read for me, it was just like, I get it. Thank you for playing well, but I don't. That show immediately left my brain when the next group went on. So for
And that and
me,
it's
so that I mean that's just kind of the thing for me. So for me, I would have had them seventh, and had shifted not because and maybe their show was cleaner, but I thought Mystique played well,
I don't know though.
and I
There's a
thought Mason was super entertaining. Like I I wouldn't have been surprised if Mason would have been fifth just off of effect alone. Um,
there. I could be wrong.
and that's just me.
I think some of the judges and I know they don't, and they say they don't, but it just makes you feel like they just didn't like Mystique. Because I watched Infinity, went back and seen finals videos of Infinity. Same with Mystique. And if you listen and we're strictly talking music,
Mhm.
I don't know how.
Here's the thing, though. Fifth, the prelims, and I don't want to make this just about Mystique, but prelims they were fifth, semis they fell to sixth, finals they fell to seventh. So like, I don't know. I'm not sure if that logic of them not liking Mystique, it just may have been a prisoner of the moment. I think the worst thing that happened to Mystique at finals night was they went on after George Mason.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really
That's
think
tough.
that kind of done them in. And then Infinity came on after them and played their tails off. and it was a nice cool product, and it was you write a number down right after, and you have to do that, and emotions take place for humans. And if you think, well, that was better, that was, I'm looking at my checklist, and they checked more boxes this time. That's just how that goes, and it's hard because when you design a show, you try to design a show where you have more. Not only do you have more boxes, but you have more boxes checked.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order to have more boxes checked, you have to have more boxes. So I don't know.
I'm giving that to Infinity.
Yeah.
I just looked at it and went back and listened to a lot of stuff after seeing everything live during the time, and then going back and listen to it again. I sat there and I was like, now I could be crazy, but there seems to be more non-clear musical moments in this Infinity show than I thought.
I thought that too, but when I texted a buddy of mine who was there, and I said, "Hey, did this sound this way to you there?" And he said, "No." He said, "Besides one tenor moment."
And that's what's crazy, because that's what I'm saying. Like, even in the moment, you had people who were actually there, like your friend, and then we watched it live during that same time, and then I go back weeks later, watch video of the same night, and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, well, God, dog. Because here's the thing, and most audio clips, depending, are always going to pick up something the human ear ain't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very tough to compare those two because we're not listening like that. We're not listening with all these devices or something that can enhance sound quality or whatever to our ear to make us pick out these certain things. So when you go back and you watch these videos, you're just like, man, they do tell the truth. But in that moment, you know what I'm saying? You get away with stuff.
Comparing those two, both music judges had Infinity clearly outperforming Mystique. So I don't want to get bogged down on that, but like, because now we're getting when especially when you get to these top groups, it is that. So I want to make sure we get to the rest of these. But we can always come back to this discussion at another point. Fourth place, Post Percussion. Probably not you seeing that. With their show Underground. I thought it was a good change of pace for them. Um, didn't know what this show was going to be when you first heard it, but I kind of got it.
I
The
figured
more
I
I
figured
watched
it
it,
was going to be this. Like when you hear underground, you think of the underground scene, underground music, underground graffiti, stuff like that, blah blah blah. Whatever that kind of idea. You get old schools, this or whatever. I mean, they're playing Funk Soul Brother for crying out loud. It's like, you know, um, it's and for me, it's not the uninvited year, even though they gave us a little taste.
yeah,
But this is the pulse that I've been waiting for, like the uninvited year. I love pulse like this. Be creative, pulse. Be this kind of concept wise
yeah.
with you.
Here's what I'm afraid of, especially with them and Chino Hills, because they typically have very, very. I know I'm talking about a high school group compared to an independent group, but a
I
lot of
mean,
the same
they
folks.
talk by the same.
Yeah, they both groups kind of stepped out and did something out of that groove that they were in, and both of them
Yep.
didn't, and neither one of them medaled.
Chino did.
Did Chino finish third?
Yeah, they got third.
Okay, Avon was fourth. That's what it was.
Yeah.
But still, for them,
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if they're going to go back.
But here's the thing: is it too late? You already stepped off the train,
I mean,
and you done sat up here and let 3 groups get ahead of you, Pulse.
well, independent's a little bit different. And now here's the thing: if if you, I'm kind of looking at the thing, fourth in effect in both captions. They were fourth across the board. And I don't know what their makeup was. They might have had a lot of younger folks in the group, and the show might have been designed more towards that than anything. I don't. I think 1 year away from it's not going to hurt anything. I
But
don't.
here's the thing, though: are you saying that in this day and age compared to what in the old day and age? Because you can say that a while ago,
Yeah.
and be just fine. But now look what today is. Look what happened in this year solely by itself. Even in the color guard world, like what?
Well, here's the, okay. So if you think about it, though,
do that again.
I don't. I think they can. I don't.
I'm not saying that they can't, but can it get them a gold medal? Not just third. Can they make them win again, like they were doing? Because they was backing it.
Well, here's the thing, though. It's, you know as well as I do. It's who does what they do the best, and with posts kind of switching or switching it up. Maybe this was an experiment into, okay, what do we need to do to make this type of works? Because if you think about it, what X, kind of getting ahead of ourselves here, but what X and RCC doing, X has really seemed like they not only have they stepped up the plane, but they've really made a conscious effort to make the front ensemble something special. So they're doing it in a different way. I think X has branded themselves a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I really do, and I think they're figuring out something to work. And they're the talent pool may be way different being in Indianapolis than it is being in Ohio. That's the thing. And then RCC hasn't changed, but you got to remember too, RCC is always kind of we're gonna do kind of what we want to do,
Mm-hmm.
and if it works out, great. And if it doesn't,
And
that's
that's and but see, and that's kind of what I was leaning towards because if you like with these other groups, maybe not a whole lot Broken City, but with the other two, think you can throw whatever at them, and they're doing this high achievements.
yeah.
They're
Well,
they're on different. They're on a train one day, and then now they're on an airplane. Now RCC and them they're on a boat. But the thing is Pulse has been on this
yeah, and
train,
yeah.
train. Now they stepped off the train, but the train is what was keeping them there. But you got all these other groups who are not staying on the same vehicle, jumping around and still making it. But the
I
thing
think
that kept Pulse there, can they go back to that?
I think there's enough talent there that you can. Like, I'm not saying they're gonna go back on another street or whatever, but like, I think they can. I think there's enough talent there and enough in the design team there that they can shift back if they want to, and they may not want to. They may have gotten bored with doing it the way they were doing it, and wanted to do something different. I don't know. And who knows? To them, this may not be much different than what they've been doing. It seems different to us. It seems like there was a formula for them to, we're going to play super super duper clean, and we're going to move super super duper well, and and then we're going to do the California voice over guy, and it's and maybe they heard that and was like, fine, we'll try something different. Um, or maybe they just wanted to do something different. With them, I think they can do whatever they want. I think it's just like the Blue Devils. They can really do, if they want to do something out there or super crazy or super hard or super just different, they can do it. Um, you know, not to say that they will. I don't know, but I think what we see from them next year will be really really interesting. Um,
It's gonna be like that for everybody.
because you know fourth in effect, fourth in playing, and fourth in the visual effect, and one of them have seventh, um, fourth in hands, fourth in vision. So they were consistently behind Broken City. Um, so it's just, yeah.
I'm just saying, it's all just curious. Again, this isn't no knock because I actually like the show. Like I said, I dug it. I was cool with it the first time because I was worried honestly because when I first time I seen it, I seen some kind of Instagram post and it stops after they do the part where it's like I can't stop, and then that was done. I was like, okay, and now I hate post production because this is amazing. So, but then the season goes on and it's like, oh, what's really happening over here and blah blah blah. What's gonna happen by the time they get to dating and blah blah and blah blah. And now we see what happened, and it wasn't that the show wasn't great because I thought it was creative, but like I said, this for me it was the closest is like I have liked Pulse, but the show that made me love them was Uninvited.
Mm.
And when you get to that, and then you get to something like this, it was like this was the closest I seen that y'all try to. Because Uninvited was so creative, and it's like, man, I ain't care where y'all place. That show lives rent free in my head, and it's like groups that will take that time to do that. That's why I said what I said about Atlanta Quest. Take that time to do something like that. You're gonna have a fan. You won't always have a fan because those like stepping out of the box or taking chances of creativity to me is like it's gonna hold more weight. And I love groups that do stuff like that. Don't just be safe to be safe because you want to win or want to do this or whatever. Like, be creative, man. That's what's missing in half of the universe anyway. I said universe, but at least humanity, whatever.
Bronze medalist, Broken City, of the show North. I actually got this show.
Hey, we got.
I typically don't get Broken City shows, but I got this one.
Maybe out here talking about interpret it your own way, and that's what it is. What?
Like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to tell me what it is. But no, it's they did a really, really good job with this one. Lots of compasses and things of that nature to make you, to drive home the idea of North. I mean, Broken City did Broken City things with the space and the music. But I think there's a few more notes in it this year than typically is. So I really enjoyed it for what it was. Like I like Broken City. I just like how they manipulate music and
that part.
Space is difficult, man. Just ask George Mason. And it goes to prove, like, you don't have to play a blue million notes to do well. You just play the notes that you have, really, really sing it well, and design it well, and you'll be fine. I mean, they scored well across the board. Third in music effect, third in visual effect. One judge had them third in music, the other one had them second in music. Other judge had them second in music over RCC with a perfect comp score. And then third in visual. So, I mean, there's a lot of really good things done right. Just, man, the two that was in front of them decided that they were going to do everything even righter. Rhythm X was your silver medalist, breaking the record. They held the record for approximately 5 minutes with their show entitled Hands of Creation. I bought through my computer the first time I saw it because the front ensemble was ridiculous.
If RCC, in theory, did any other past show, this is winning.
Yeah. If RCC had a blinked wrong.
Like, RCC, like, if somebody didn't pull their mallet out of the bag quick enough, Rhythm X is winning. Like, this show, I called it day one when we did the video on it, even after. And this still, the problem with Rhythm X is George Mason decided to be stupid because Rhythm X held my fan favorite show for quite a long time. And then George Mason was like, yeah, about that. Have you seen this? And then I was like, oh, okay. But this, I know this show is in different thoughts process, but I tie so many things to like movies and stuff like that. But this show was just the most simple, brilliant show I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Nothing gets moved, really. I mean, they reveal the props and drop some cloths and stuff on the props and stuff, but that's about it. But they manipulate them so creative, and it's not shocking because it is Rhythm X.
Yeah.
But there's under no circumstances that any of my kids tossing a cymbal behind them to get caught through the prop by somebody who probably could they see the cymbal?
I don't know.
All you see is hands. I'm hoping they could see the cymbals, but if that ever a trust fall if I ever seen it in my life. Every show I'm clenching. I know that staff had to be clenching half of the show.
Every time.
Booty hole just tight.
It's like,
Jesus.
We gonna do what now?
If we could just get through this part. Okay. Now let's get through the other 70 parts. 70? Listen, I don't know what. But this show, God, from the first note, I like the way the front starts.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's like almost out of time, but not. And then the first note of the battery is so aggressive. It's like, geez, what I do to you?
Yeah. It's so aggressive. It's just strong. It's just present.
Attack.
Yeah, just like we're
Present.
here. Like
And
start.
it's like, God. Hey, Rhythm X.
Yeah.
And then the whole show was just.
It drew you in. It make you listen, make you watch.
It was floated through the whole show, but it had the moments to keep you hyped. But it wasn't a hype show. You had your small moment where they had the little dance thing, whatever, but it was still level. You know, there was nothing that was just aggressive. But that kind of vibe is so tough to do, man.
Yep. One music, just every other caption was just uber close. Effect 0.06 17, sorry, 0.017, not 0.17, 0.017. Effect visual 0.1. They won music by 1.25, sorry, 0.125, and then lost music by visual by 0.05. So like just half a points everywhere on caption.
X is like, what do we gotta do, bro?
Yeah.
One judge keeps them out last year. This year they
it wasn't one
break a record. Can't even break the record to win.
I mean, here's the thing, man, and I don't know if he went back and just gave them this number. But like one of the music effects judges had Rhythm X at 100. They didn't go last. They didn't go last. Now he left room, so I'm wondering if he thought RCC was going to be, if RCC was better, if he would have just gave him a tie or moved X's score or what. But there was X had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 perfect subcaptions.
It's like last year all over again. If I'm on staff, I'm asking myself, what?
Their
like
lowest subcaption score was a 97.
That's insane. And you're almost at the level of robots. Like, if we're calling it as a human to human and claiming with my own human eyes, I don't see fault. It's a robot, bro. It's like.
And then, of course, your champion, who took the record 5 minutes after RCC had it. I mean, after Rhythm X had it.
I mean, that was rude.
With RCC. It was just. I mean, you just sit and. Sorry, the show was titled "Only the Broken Can See," so just lots of eye shows. So I don't know if there's a connection with all y'all in RCC and Chino Hills and Pulse. Maybe that's what it is.
It could be.
Like Broken City needs a connection with somebody. Maybe Arcadia. I don't know. But you know, both things with things about eyes or being able to see or something like that. You watch Rhythm X and like, man, that's great. Nobody can beat that. And then you watch RCG and you're just like, no, that's it.
My brain doesn't work.
That's the winner. That's the winner, and that's all. You
know how hard it is to even think like that. Because as much as we talk about Rhythm X, it's like this, and this. You come back with RCC, it's like this is borderline brilliant. After you just got through saying Rhythm X is borderline brilliant, I mean, and it's like,
literally from the moment they step off the show, step on the floor, the show starts.
Even before then.
Like, as the other group is pulling their floor off, RCC
like,
is
literally
to set the mood.
Like, and I'm talking about, and I'm wondering if they literally planned it like that because you draw the crowd engagement. Because there's been times where I've been with groups, and we talk about if you're if you're in the back of the floor and there's kids back there, you need to talk to the kids. Like you need to engage with them somehow while you're back there. Wink, wave something. Um, put your energy into whatever you're playing towards them. Like you're always performing at all angles, all times. And people on the side of the floor don't get no love, because it's not the best angle, man. You're getting to the side, all the sounds going to the front. Yeah, you hear it, but you don't get the full effect because you're off to the side. And I just wonder if they plot and planned it like that. And because it's just brilliant to do. It reminds me of just the position in Color Guard. I mean, they do the same thing with their pre-shows and stuff. It's like, if this isn't a crowd hyper, I don't know what is.
Yeah. But yeah, so from the jump, they just get you, and then they just never let go. I mean, with moments after moments, playing's impeccable. I mean, the tenor solo, which is half. I don't even say halftime, more like quarter time. I don't know. It was one step for every 75 beats. Which is fantastic. The the bass drum cymbal feature.
Get out of here.
I don't know who's doing that. And then, the visual ensemble's running around framing everything the way that it needs to be framed. And it was just, you just got done with that show and all you can just be like, well, damn, okay. That just happened to my soul.
Bro, their visual ensemble was just, yes.
So,
yes.
We could gush about that particular show. That's another one that we probably just need to react to. But well deserved record in championship. It was. I mean, to go out their acts when they did what they just did and throw one down. Because sometimes, I mean, these are high quality musicians. They know how to play under pressure. But sometimes going on that to somebody who just lays one down. Because you hear it. You're behind the curtain.
You back there.
You hear everything.
In the tunnel.
You can feel it. And when a group in front of you throws down, like, man, they just threw down. So, but no, it was a fantastic year. Like I said, we're an hour and a half in. We could have expanded on. I know the top 4 or 5 or 6 or 8, even more. I know I kind of tried to rush through some stuff because I wanted to get through, but take your time listening to this one. If you need to do it in chunks, do it in chunks. It's a lot to catch. So, but fantastic season from WGI, always fun, and not just in the world class, in all the classes. Go check videos from all of those groups too, because there were some really cool open class shows too. And A-class shows.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So
don't sleep on them, please.
No.
Especially concert class. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I watched the concert class this year too. There's some good stuff happening. I was like, man, let me step my game up. So anyway, but any closing thoughts, Will?
Scared for next year.
Yep, I ain't going.
It's gonna be a lot of minds tinkering around.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of switching around, switcheroos, different thoughts, somebody gonna try this. Yeah.
Yep. So, in comments, let us know what you think about the season and your favorite groups and groups that you're looking forward to watching next year and all that good stuff. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. Make sure you hit that like, comment, share, subscribe button. Share the wealth. We're just some dudes talking about percussion because we love it. We like to hit stuff and go like that. So, for Will, my name is Ted. It's been another episode of On the Back Perc Talk. We will catch you on the next one. Peace.